and welcome. I wanted to show you how I'm going to make some flowers. Now, I'll start with the red. I'm using some Fimo soft clay, and this clay you put it in the oven to harden. So just taking a piece. I've got a Teflon sheet, but underneath I've got my cutting mat, and I've got a selection of cutters. Now these are cutters you can actually that you use for cutting icing, cutting flowers and things. But I found them really useful in clay. So I've got some butterflies, some leaves, and some gerberas, and these are just kind of, I think they're just kind of like daisies. These ones, it just says yeah, they're just daisies. And what you shouldn't do, you should make sure that you don't use, if you've used them for crafts, don't use them for cooking, okay? So but they're really cute. It's really good way of being able to use. And all I'm doing is rolling this out, and then you have to soften it first and then roll it, and then I'm just using a pencil here, but obviously you can, if you've got a roller, I have got a roller somewhere, but it's decided to stay hidden. But basically, so just using the pencil to roll it out to the thickness that you require. The only thing that you need to remember is that if you're using it for the flowers, the petals, it can be quite, once you've taken it out, if you roll it too thin, these bits can break off. So what you can do is just stamp it straight away, and I've done some here that I've just stamped, apart from this one. The leaf cutter has got a pattern of the leaf, so that's nice. So I've done a few there, and I've done a few of the smaller ones. But what I wanted to do was to have some texture on some of them. So I've just got some of my stamps here, and all I'm going to do, I mean, there might still be some ink on there. I'm just going to apply the stamp and be very gentle as you take it off, and then decide on which one you want to use. I want to use a fairly large one, so I'm going to take this size. These ones haven't got any texture on. These flowers haven't got any texture on. And it's just set 4 flowers by Kitchen Craft. And all you do is then just plunge it in. And it is a good idea to make sure you've just got the thing on the bottom. And as you can see, when you take it up, I'll try and zoom in for you. As you can see, you've got that nice design on them that you wouldn't get, otherwise. So that's going to be a really lovely feature on a particular project. So we're going to make a few more. And, just kind of have a look. Just take this off carefully, because you don't want it to, because you've kind of manipulated it twice with the stamp. You just have to be a bit careful. But there you go. Oh, that's so pretty. That is so gorgeous. So all I'm going to do is put them on here, and what I like to do is make a few of them so that you you can just do a batch in the oven. So I'm going to get some of the smaller ones because it seems a shame to have to have lost some of this. With the small ones, you just plunge it in. See if I've got one that will. Yep. Just pull away the excess and push it out, and that just comes off, and you've got a bit of the colour that I had before, which is fine, and you've still got some of the texture there. Let's see this one. Sometimes it just comes off automatically. So it's really nice for the smaller flowers. And I'll see if I can maybe get one more here. Might not, no. Might be able to there, yeah, looks like. There's just enough on there. And as I said, you don't want to make them too small. Well, obviously this is the smallest one. So just again, roll up the clay and think about which stamp you might use. And I guess what I could recommend is that if you roll it up to a few millimeters higher than you want, then when you press down the stamp, it actually then becomes the height that you want, the thickness. So you roll it, manipulate it. And the good thing about the flowers is that you can have you can do more than one together of the sizes. This Teflon sheet that I'm using, you can use it in the oven, and it just it's got multiple uses, so it doesn't, you know, obviously you want to be careful about what you put your work on, and it won't stick. The work won't stick. So I've got a couple of stamps. I mean, you're not technically going to be seeing any of the writing, or very much of the writing, because it's cut out. There we go. But it's nice to have that there. So I'm going to use a bigger. I've got a bigger one there. These are the leaves. So these ones come in 4 sizes. There you go. And you can layer them if you want. So I'll use the biggest size. And then the only other thing that you just need to be mindful of is if you're using different colours. So for me, as I was using purple and red, the mix of the colours wasn't an issue. But if you're using, say, lighter colours, you might want to clean them off first. Because this stuck down, what I'm going to do, rather than pull it up and not be able to use some more of the clay. I'll do some smaller ones first. There you see. And it's thick enough that they won't break or snap when you're once they've been finished. And then with this, the larger one, I'm just going to pull up the sides, but I'll show you. I'll see if I can get, so you can layer them, use different colours. Let's move this out of the way because we don't want no unexpected surprises, but again, they look beautiful. So I'm going to try a different stamp now and see what I get with those, because if you'd notice where there's bigger writing like here, you don't necessarily see the writing, but it kind of leaves an impression, and it's raised, so it's actually quite cool. It makes the flowers, it gives them a different kind of look. And it's interesting because you then, you can read some of the words on it, but it just looks so cute. Now I'm going to do these smaller ones again. I don't particularly like, and that's the good thing about experimenting. For me, I prefer the bigger flowers. They're going to be more useful for me. So I'm just going to use the larger size, which is this one, and maybe this one as well. But the smaller ones, I'm not going to use it for this particular thing. Okay, so roll it up to a ball. There you go. And then we're going to use our pencil again. You can use anything that's round and it's got a smooth edge. And I'll just keep using the pretend rolling pin to flatten it out a bit. And as I said, if you don't flatten it out all the way, but leave a few millimeters to where you would want it to be, and then press in the stamp and then peel off very gently. Okay, well this one you can actually see the words. So when you take your big, what I'm going to try and do is it says friends on it, so I'm going to try and make the friends, the word, come out in the middle of the flower. Press down. And then gently lift off. So some of the flowers come away, but that's fine. And here you have it. You've got some of it. So then what we do with what I'm going to do with this is just, actually we don't even need to stamp it that hard. But because some of the smaller ones didn't have any writing, that's why I redid them. So I'm going to redo them and see how the smaller ones come out with a bit more writing on. Can't really see it to that. By the time it goes through the plunger, it seems to lose the wording. So what we'll do, as I said, we'll just use the bigger ones. This one might be nice in clay, or where you just want it to be just the centerpiece, so it doesn't actually need to have a pattern on. Or what you might want to try, let's see if this works, is just to do it afterwards. Yeah, that works actually. So we've learnt that with the small ones, you want to just very carefully stamp afterwards. Like, see this one, this is what I didn't want. So be very gentle. So let me try another one. And the only way you'll kind of really master it is with practice. So you don't press down too hard. That one's done. You just do it very gently, like that. Again, doesn't have to be hard at all, because that's where, but you wouldn't have found that out if you hadn't of, you know, experimented. Again, those ones come out. Did it a bit too hard for that one. There is no reason why they can't have see, this one did this one without even sticking. And I also think that if you leave it too long, so they're beginning to dry out, but obviously need to be finished off in the oven. But if you leave it for too long, then it becomes slightly brittle for whatever reason. Now, with this clay, you can paint it. If you want. Now you can, these round ones, I'm just going to quickly do. So these were what was left off afterwards, and literally just to use as the centerpiece for the flower. The thinner they are, the more delicate they are. Like that. And you just need to lightly press, which is what I've found. You lightly press. And you get the pattern. And then now that gives it also another interesting look. So as I was saying, you can paint them. You know, obviously you can use paint, whatever paint you've got. They've got a special paint for it. And this is, these are some I did before. It's silver powder, and basically what you can do is mix this with the varnish. This is a gloss varnish, and it just gives it a nice finish. And you can you apply this to the clay before you fire it. and then you apply the varnish. But you can also mix this into the varnish, and dries really quickly. But it's up to you whether you want to do it before or after. I'm thinking because of the chemicals, and you're using, you know, if you're using your oven, then you might not want to do that. So you might want to just leave it until afterwards. But it's up to you what kind of design or pattern you would want to do. So with this, I'm just adding, see, I'd made some other shapes and some hearts here. Right, so with this red, I'm going to just continue and finish this bit off and make some more flowers, because it's always going to come in handy. Like, these flowers are going to be really nice on cards. Cards, you might be making some cards. You know, you might decide to make a greetings card. Mother's Day's coming up, so you know, it's nice to have something handmade. So lightly press, and as well as cards, there are other things that you can, you know, on your projects, in your journals. So I like this. It's let me see. It's actually the spaces on this that kind of make it look as if it's swollen, just a kind of a raised piece. But on the flower, it actually makes it look unusual. So that's the joy of being able to experiment with, you know, the things that you have in your supplies, and just, you know, have some that you're not always going to want to pull out this all the time. You want to make something, so if you make a few in advance, you've always got like a ready supply of things that can be used on your projects. There's another little space there. Let me see. I know I've done this already, but I'm just gonna see. Right, so what happens, actually that's not too bad, but what happens is when you push it out, the indentation you've made with the stamp gets lost, especially in this one, because it has to press against it to push it out. So we've just got a little bit more to do, and you can, again, as I said, you can decide whether you want to, you know, how many you want to make, or whether you actually want to, depend on what you're making, whether you want to physically make something that you can put on the cake, or your, let's see, this one, it just fits. I might have lost some of the edge in there. So the good thing about the bigger ones is they just plop out, so it then doesn't go on the flower. But that one says celebrate. So you know, with the smaller bits you can make some of the smaller flowers, and you know, either you can use a permanent marker or you can use the silver powder, depending on what colour you're using and what you want. See, they're very cute. And if they're thicker, then actually that would make a nice little brooch, little necklace. Put a hole in there. When you fire that up, see? So, you know, use your imagination. Let's see if we can do one with this. Put some writing on there. So apply that lightly, so it's got a bit of writing on there. And I'll do the same for this one. This is my embosser. It's got some writing on there, so that looks quite cute. Just doing this one. This one, with any luck, so it's got a bit on both sides. I'll get the stamp and stamp out the middle. I've got that off. See, the first one we did by accident, it's like when you then go to recreate it. Okay, so that's fine. And then we'll just I need a few more words indented in there. And I'm just going to use this to poke a hole in it so that we can either put a jump ring or some string. It's cool. And these are things that you can make, you know, very easily. That's just from the scraps. So I hope you enjoyed, you know, the different ways that you can create, you know, the little flowers, and using your stamps, using the cutters, you can create different textures on the flowers. This was a textured stamp with holes. Some of the cutters themselves already come with a texture on it, like so the leaf ones I didn't have to do anything to. You might still decide to put some writing on. And then when you've cut out the flowers, the bits that you've got at the end, whether you want to create another little, you know, this is a nice little necklace that you can, or you can make earrings. You know, these could be earrings. Could be earrings, couldn't they? But just experiment with the different types of clay, because you can get the silver clay that will make, it's more specifically used for making jewellery. So what we do with unused bits is make sure we wrap it up and seal it. So I'll just get my tape here. And what we're going to do now is fire these put these in the oven for about 10 minutes. Look at the, actually, is it 10 minutes? But look at the instructions and it will tell you how long. And they'll harden and then you'll be able to continue on with your other projects. There we go. So thank you for joining me.